cooking in London for a family, for my cousin there, and had no idea that I cook that good, that people are actually going to pay me to cook for them. And yeah, and then it took off from there. I lived in New York for 13 years, spent 5 years in London, did my internship, and moved to LA less than 3 years ago in the middle of the pandemic, knowing nothing about what's going to happen, and started selling my babka because that was the only thing that I could do. Nobody wanted me to come into their houses and cook for them, obviously, and started selling my babka on my Instagram and sold maybe 3 a week. Then 2 months later, I was contacted by the food critic of the LA Times, who decided to write about my babka, and I had no idea what's about to happen. And I had no house because nobody wanted to rent me a house or show me a house. I was sleeping at my friend's couch. Then the article comes out, and I'm making 300 babkas a week. So that's what happens, and it just literally took off from there. And I started doing Zoom classes and more baking, got into private chefing. Started worked on a huge project in New York last year. Loads of things. I'm working on my cookbook now, but yeah, that's my story.
So when you discovered that your cooking was good and people wanted to pay you to cook, you were saying before COVID, basically you would go to different people's houses and cook for them. So
in London, when I was in London, yeah, I worked in a restaurant to do my internship, and then on my free time I cooked for 2-3 families when they needed me. Yeah. But I still didn't know. I think I still don't know. Like, it's always surprising me when I see when people react to what I do. It's like, it's very, it's weird because I was in a completely different business before. I was doing marketing for jewelry companies my entire life. And I was cooking for myself, and I was cooking for like friends. So, yeah, and when I decided to leave New York, I was 40 years old, and everybody told me that I'm making the biggest mistake of my life, because I had a great job and everything was working well, and I decided it just didn't work out for me anymore. Yeah. And I proved it.
Where do you bake the 300 babkas a week at?
At my friend's house.
Oh wow!
I literally took over my friend's house in LA in the middle of the pandemic, where they have kids running around, and I completely took over the kitchen for my Zoom classes. For baking there, I had like another person who worked with me because I just couldn't do it by myself. Yeah, it's really, and then it's funny because when I moved to my own house, the one thing I insist on was the way I decided to build my business was I didn't want it to be accessible for everyone. I really, really didn't. So, and I knew that if I'm going to do it in a way that most people don't do it today, which is not deliver my babka, then it's going to narrow down the orders, but it's going to make it more special. Because I remember, like, when I was a kid and my parents used to say, like, oh, we're going to go buy you shoes next week. There was like a whole, oh, when is it going to be next week? Like this thing that you're waiting for. And like, you know, in a time where everything comes to your door and you don't really appreciate it, I don't. You know, just people drove from like Santa Barbara, from Palm Springs, and it's like 3-4 hour drive to just pick up my babka, and then there was a queue outside my house of like 25-30 cars every day, and people thought I was a drug dealer. So I was a drug dealer, it's sugar. So it's amazing, but then it's only then when I started realizing I didn't plan to do it like this, but just everything led to it. You know, it's like I didn't want to deliver because it was pandemic, first of all, and nobody wanted to work for me. So it was one thing led to another, and then I realized that I actually created a business that was appealing to people. Besides the fact that my babka is super expensive, so I just didn't want it to be a Trader Joe's babka that you buy for $7. And yeah.
Do you still sell it?
I still sell it when someone a big order. If it's not, I prefer to stay in my bed with my cookies and my coffee. And yeah, it just got into a point where I don't have to do it like I did it before, and also I don't want it to become like I got offers to like start my own bakery and just sell it to like different like stores and get into Whole Foods and get into like places like this, and I said no to all of it because it's just not what I'm looking to do. I'm more also like I said, I was in jewelry before. I was always into like more of a brand that was unique and not something that everyone is buying and when I see what my babka is doing now, when people are buying it, they're usually buying it. So just to give you an idea, my babka costs $100, and it's 2 loaves of babka, and it starts from $100 and go up to like sometimes if it's in gold, it goes up to $300. So it's not, and I'm aware of what it is, you know, but it's you have to like know that there is a market for everything, and that's what I, you know, when I teach also at LA Tech College, and I say to people, it's like you just need to decide like what you want to do, how much you want to sell it for, and there are people out there, but you have to like have chutzpah and believe, and also be able to deliver. You know, if it's not good, then you can't ask for this price. If it is good, you can ask for whatever you want. And then if you want to buy, I always say, if you want to buy, buy. If you don't want to buy, buy. So that's the story of this Bible. But it became very special because it became something that people are taking with them to Shabbat dinner when they go to other people's houses, that they buy for like a birthday, that they buy. So it became something special and not just something that you buy for yourself and demolish it in 5 minutes.
Do you find that when you're making like 3 versus 300 babkas that the quality suffers? Or
I'm sorry?
When you're making like 3 babkas, it's easy to like pay a lot of attention to each one. When you're making 300, how do you make sure that like the quality stays the same?
I make them in my house. I make them by myself. I buy all the things. I roast everything, like all the nuts that I buy. I roast, I chop everything by myself. I make my chocolate ganache by myself. If you're asking about time, then it just takes more time. And then you just divide your week to like, I work 6 days a week. I wake up at 4 o'clock. The baker is, you know, it's a hard job. So you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you start working at 5, you finish at 10, and you do it 5-6 times a week. But I think there was not much to do also during the pandemic. Like there was nowhere to go. I was always in my house anyway, so I was doing it, and that's what it was. But it's you know, it's also because it's under my control. Like nothing was like being done out, you know, somewhere else. I was able to supervise it. Yeah. Anyone?
Can you just talk about like the? Oh, sorry. Do you
Oh, I had a question, but it's the recipe you use. Is it like a family recipe or something that you like created?
So when I was in London, my cousin's nanny gave me the shittiest recipe you can think about, and I had to like work with it. And when I started making babka, I wasn't into baking. I hated baking. It was too complicated for me. Food, give me 2 ingredients, I'm going to make you the most delicious meal. You cannot do it with baking. It has to be so accurate and measured, and it's really, really not for me. But then I think I told you, you know, as soon as, you know, people expect you to be a baker, you have to live up to the expectation. But yeah, I got this recipe, and I wasn't fascinated by baking in general. I was fascinated by the whole braiding of the babka and the way it looks. I start from aesthetics sometimes. My head works differently. I can see a plate, a beautiful plate, and think about like the dish that I want to make for the plate. I'm not going to make a dish. I will, but you know, in many cases, it works like it starts from something else. So the babka was the aesthetics of the babka. I looked at it. I thought it was beautiful. I thought I can make it look much better than what she did. And then I just took the recipe and I worked with it for 2 years. And then after 2 years, I agreed for people to actually try it. Because there were so many that went to the bin, and I just never let anyone try it. And 2 years after, I was invited to start doing this in Europe. So I was in Amsterdam and in Hungary, and then I got to Hungary to Budapest, and I did 2 days that was sold out, and each day was like 100 people that just paid to come see me baking it. And then the day before I left Budapest, the BBC Good Food magazine wrote about my babka, and that was the first time that somebody, like the press, acknowledged it. And then I realized, because I didn't realize that there was something special. I was very grateful. But then when they wrote about it, I realized that I did something special. And if you've seen my chocolate babka has rose petals and candied orange on top of it, which is two things that I loved from my childhood. I never liked artificial candy, and I forced everyone to keep the peel from the oranges, like all my neighbors and everyone, and I used to make candies with my mom. And I used the peel for the syrup at the beginning to make my syrup. Then I figured I can, instead of like eating the peel myself, I can just chop it nicely and put it on each babka. And then rose petals is, my grandparents were very, very poor, and my grandmother used rose water as a perfume. So to me, it's like every time I smell it, it reminds me of my grandma. And this is why I did it. And then nobody made a babka looking like this before. And that was where everything just worked out.
Sounds beautiful.
Thanks. Danny?
Okay. Can we get started?
I think so. I think we can do the first one. We have like another 5 seconds. Like 5 minutes. Yeah. This is definitely 5. Even more than 5 minutes. The first one is almost ready as well. Okay. Yeah?
Yeah.
So your favorite thing that you do now is going around and doing things like this, or because now you don't bake like 4 to
like
10
crazy,
anymore.
yeah. I don't bake like crazy anymore. I bake again like when it's a big order.
Yeah.
But I mostly enjoy going to people's houses and create the experience of a restaurant in their house.
Yeah.
So I
not
go-
baking, but like
No,
cooking a meal.
just baking and cooking, do the whole thing. But this
Yeah.
is, if I take a job, for instance, of a dinner of 20 people, to me it's like a 3-day job.
Great.
So I have 2 days that I cook in my house, then the whole day over there, then my sous chef is joining, then I get the waitresses to join in the evening, and then it's a whole thing. It's literally bringing a restaurant into someone's house, which to me is like the most fun thing to do.
Yeah.
It's fun.
What,
Yeah, go ahead.
what stage of chocolate writing are you at right now?
Pretty much in I want to say 70%, but it's the writing a cookbook is it's a big thing, because you write it, and then the publisher, they have their own team who comes, and then they test the recipes, and then they need to make sure it's accurate, and then you need to make it again, and then there's the whole filming I said it to you, I think I started telling you, the reason I didn't want to do it like 2 years ago, I was offered, as soon as the articles started to come out in LA, I was immediately contacted by someone who wanted me to start working on my cookbook, and I said, absolutely not, because I buy so many cookbooks, and I look into so many cookbooks when I feel like people were forced to write these cookbooks, because you get in advance. So they'll give you like $50,000, and they say, sit home now for the next 6 months and write a cookbook. And then you have to come up with recipes, but you're forcing yourself to write recipes, because it's becoming work. And I feel like I want to do it more organically. When I go into my kitchen, I cook, I write the recipe, I love the recipe, and then I actually want it to be in my cookbook. And that takes way more time. So I want to say 70%, but there's still a lot more time. Yeah.
Will your recipe for vodka be in your cookbook?
Yes, and I just said there's I'm going to send you guys a link. The recipe for my sweet babka just came out in a book that's called Jewish Family Recipes that we did in LA. It's a book by the Jewish family. I I will never remember. But it's all donations, and it's all Jewish chefs from America who decided to contribute their recipes into this book, and all the proceeds like are going to like help Jewish families and help young kids and people that got hurt from COVID and all of that. So it's pretty great. You should look into that book. But it's the first time that my recipe was published anywhere. So. What's up?
I think it's still good. It's still good.
Other than babka, what's your second favorite? Other than babka, what are your other favorite things to make?
I like to cook my family recipes, which is my family was originated from Iraq, Egypt, and Yemen. My mom was born in Israel, but her parents are from Iraq and Egypt. My dad was actually born in Yemen. So I grew up around this, but then I have a huge family. So I'm the oldest grandchild of like 57 grandchildren. So there's a lot of people. That's why I left Israel, by the way. It's a lot of people. So everybody married like other, just different cuisines. So I was exposed to like a lot of things, but it's mostly, I don't know if you know this food, but I love kubeh, and I love, froom, and I love couscous, and everything that is like takes more time, like slow cooked food, is more my thing. And I love vegetables. I love working with vegetables. Yeah.
How did you first start bringing like back before all the babka thing took off and you were in London and you started cooking for people's houses? Was that like bringing a restaurant in, or was that a different sort of thing?
It was actually different. So the way I did it then, I didn't do like the whole. So there's two types of private chefing. You have the private chef that comes to your house and bring the entire experience of like a restaurant. And then there's what I did in England at the beginning. I used to go to someone's house and they used to say, we need food for the next 3, 4, 5 days. So I used to go in, no one is in the kitchen, it all stays in like containers, and you cook for like 6, 7 hours, and then they have fresh food for the next 4 or 5 days. It's a completely different thing. In LA, I think I do this less because I enjoy more
the restaurant
the experience of like plating it and not let anyone decide how they want to plate my food.
Right.
Yeah.
When we were talking, you mentioned that you were moving back to London very soon.
Yes, in 5 weeks.
Yeah. Can you share why you're moving back there? Is it for work? Is it for personal life?
It's both. So when I moved to LA, I realized how far I am from my family. But I only realized it in the last couple of months because it was pandemic, so nobody really flew anywhere. And I was there, and I didn't think about it. And then I realized that I was super far from my family, and I'm super far from my friends in London. But I'm also, I don't like to get comfortable. When I get comfortable, it starts to annoy me. Like I'm looking for adventures all the time. I need to like get out of like my comfort zone and start doing more things in other places. And I can do it for a year now and come back to LA. I love LA, and I'm very grateful for all the success that I've had there. But I need more. And I miss being in Europe. I can take trains over the weekend to Paris and Amsterdam and everywhere.
I imagine, like, now that you have the name for yourself in the food space, it's easier to go wherever you want and you have people to cook for, right? You don't have a physical space you need to be in.
No, and that's what I love about it. So we talk about, restaurant, like if I want to have a restaurant, I don't want to have a restaurant. Again, it's like a restaurant, I don't know, you know what, maybe in the future at some point, but restaurant is a lot of work. It's, most restaurants are failing, unfortunately. It's a tough business, it's food, and I always say about food, like it's, you give something to someone that they can, as soon as they put it in their mouth, they cannot exchange it or give it back. It's like, it's that moment, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So it's very risky business. So I find it very, very difficult. Also, I like the freedom. If you attach yourself to a business on that scale, of a restaurant, you're always there. You have to be there all the time.
I wanted to learn about like the kinds of families who you put on these like restaurant experiences for. Are they mostly like Jewish or Israeli families, or like what's your customer base like?
Not necessarily. Well, there's a lot of. I think the majority of my customers in LA are Jewish, but it's not necessarily. I feel that a lot of people wants to be exposed to Israeli cuisine now, and I think also there wasn't Israeli cuisine until now, because Israelis came from, Jews came from all over the world, and it was like, Iraqi food, Eastern European food, and it wasn't, we needed to take it somewhere, and make it our own, and I only feel that in the last maybe decade, we turned it into Israeli food, because there's no Israeli food, basically. Nothing really started, it started in this region, but we didn't start it there. We came there from everywhere, and then we took everything and we made it our own. But it took time to do it, and I think because of that, Israeli chefs are so successful now around the world, and people wants to be exposed to it. So, yeah, not necessarily Jewish families, or definitely not. I don't cook for Israelis. I cook for Jewish families. I don't cook for Israelis. Yeah.
Okay, should we
Ready?
get started? Yeah.
Yeah, we can start with the first one.
So just to let you guys know, like sort of how the next hour is going to go, we're gonna bake with Shimi. We're gonna pop the babka in the oven, and then we have sushi and some other lunch items.
I didn't make the sushi.
Yeah. And then after lunch, we're gonna take it out of the oven and we'll try it.
So I want to say, so the way we'll do it, I'm going to split this into two, and then I'm going to have you guys working with half of it. So one of you is going to roll it, and then the second one is going to spread the za'atar seasoning, and we'll roll it and slice it and bake it. And so until the other one is going to be ready, I'll show you what to do. But we're going to make this first, which is za'atar and roasted sesame and olive oil. A little bit of olive oil.
How long does it take to make the dough?
To make it, it's 5-10 minutes, but to let it through, so usually I'm trying to not rush it like I did now. I put it on the oven to get there faster, but usually like about between 45 to an hour. It depends with temperatures. So that's the tricky thing with baking is like the weather and the room you're in and all of that. Do we have more olive oil just in case we need it?
Yeah.
So what are you looking for when you're mixing this?
I'm looking for a paste that is going to be spreadable. So when you spread it with the spatula, it's not going to be too thick and damage the dough. You want it to go really smoothly. So basically like when you spread chocolate. It bakes for about 30 minutes.
Where do you get this za'atar from?
So there's a place I always insist of bringing my own za'atar in East. So it's Lebanese. So it's Lebanese za'atar. I actually don't really like the Israeli za'atar. It's very different. It has like a powdery, powdery texture.
Thank you.
So this is basically what it's on.
Do you bake lala?
Will your cholera recipe be in your book?
Yes, it's actually there's a lot of my recipes on my Instagram. I started sharing recipes like a month ago, so it's on my Instagram, and it's with a video. So
Maybe I'll make some
maybe we'll make some
tomorrow.
do it. So should we clear space here, and someone can do the second one with me? Who wants to? Yeah. It's dirty. You want to stay clean. So what we're trying to achieve is
I would text me and I would let you know so you
the
don't
best way to do
walk
it, I'll show you. So the best way to do it is go up and down in the corners. So you basically
That's on my number. So I would just say,
so it's tricky when the tables are moving, but so you want to go up and down, and when you go to the corners, yeah. So what do you think?
And then, when you look at it, you see that part, so if you go from here, we drag something to here, then you can keep working with it and actually create a shape that you can create.
It's like cool. It made me like sad. We can open like it. We'll talk. Danny, do we have only one feta cheese?
I think so. I think so.
No, yeah, you can do that. Wow, that is.
So it's like 45 degrees, just to not damage the dough.
Okay.
Then you leave some edges.
Follow my guy across the street. And at Target.
We also have
I mean, not Target, CVS. Here. It's literally right across the street. Creepy guy.
Well, it's neat.
They had lives. So many
No, we made it. Go for the experience. I'm with that.
I like Sheila.
Why would you snowboard with a scuba dive? It's gonna be like lunch now. No.
It's really pretty.
I don't have to go to Berg anymore. This is just lunch for me.
Yeah.
Also, Lebanese za'atar has a lot of sesame in it.
You
Get
make
into some of those philosophical
I don't bother. It's driving me crazy. It's such a process. My friends are making it, so I'm just making it for
Oh,
them.
okay.
I'm a big fan.
All your friends like.
They make no, but they just love making halva, so I don't even bother. So I'm gonna pour some on the dough. Mazel tov.
Never seen that kind of consistency. It's definitely something. I mean,
Danny, can I just get you to take a picture?
And she sends me the list at my room.
With your Jewish friend.
So use. I'll show you something. If you use only the straight part of it, and you go 45 degrees, you won't even have to do anything else. It's going to carry on. It's going to take the rest of it to wherever you go.
Training graduation square dance.
If you just use that side. Yeah.
Thank you.
thick layers on top. This, we're gonna taste this. Some could be like a little aftertaste. This is the main. This is the main dish. I'm so excited. I love
We're
it.
also going to taste the olive oil.
Oh my god, he's going. No, this is okay. This is pizza.
No, he's making it right now.
I want to take a photo. This is legitimately pizza. So funny.
Who can you send whatever picture?
Of course. You gotta get this. That's incredible.
Can you send it?
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah, it's exactly.
So I want to teach you something. Like I want to teach you a trick about.
I want to do a secondary. I'm a freshman.
I don't know. When you see babka, it's usually like.
I'm in League 105 right now. It
The
sounds
chocolate
like
is
it's
everywhere.
really
It's great.
Yeah. I was looking at the country.
Oh, cool. Have you taken any of the classes?
I really like it. I want to know how do you get into the department, you know?
Shows an email.
You want to do the cheese somebody wants to do?
Yeah, no, it looks so cool though.
That's cool.
Just like, did you see what I did?
Yeah.
I'm on.
I'm Jack.
Yeah. Jake?
Jack.
Yeah. So this is actually going into the freezer now. The reason being is if you see babkas with chocolate, usually like the chocolate is everywhere. And if you see people slicing it, it's like it's covered in. So the trick is to put it into the fridge or the freezer so it gets solid again. And then when you slice it, it's not going to go everywhere. Things you learn when you make 300 babkas a week.
How big is it?
More cheese or less cheese?
It's very big. I had to get another fridge. I basically sleep in a kitchen.
Should the cheese be thicker? or
Just like about this consistency.
Just more here. Yeah, that's great. Then anybody, do you want to try rolling it?
Sure,
Yeah.
Alright,
So you can do it from there or here, wherever you want. But it's gonna be yes. So I'm gonna show you like the first two of them. So you start with this. And then you want to get to a point where it's a tube. So what I do, I use a little bit of this to create height. So this one is actually going like this,
Tomorrow night.
folded,
Square dance.
and then from here, Then
Still
try
do
to
this again.
use, when you try to do it without pressing it,
Okay.
just gently touch it and go all the way. Yeah.
Why do you push it to
I just wanted to stay like when it goes into, first of all, I wanted to fit here. Second, I wanted to just become more like dense. So it's not going to go everywhere, especially because it's going to the freezer now. Except there's a freezer downstairs.
There is. The one downstairs is like okay.
It's not, I don't think it's going to fit here.
Here, I can bring this
Try.
downstairs if you want.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Thank you. Who else wants to? We're going to make another one now. You want to make it? Sure. Yeah? Here we go. So I can do with this. Hi.
So what do you put in the?
I'll give it to us. I'll send it to you. It's flour, yeast,
Wait, no,
eggs,
the one in the
sugar,
back.
salt, milk. And you can swap the milk with like oat milk, or you can swap the milk with water if you want. I just prefer it with milk. Come. So another reason why, when I told you that there was a queue of cars, like a line of cars outside my house, so many cars, and then people thought I was a drug dealer, is because I never took my apron on. That's how it looks. So.
It's not the
You comfortable with this, or you prefer this one?
I like this one.
Yeah? Perfect. So, we can take it. Try and spread it like in a way that it's not that. More like just pressing it, so it's gonna get to like the same thickness almost, and then start with the roll. So the best way is to go up and down in the beginning.
I saw you were doing
Yeah.
last time.
Better than.
Yeah.
Still like frantically doing
I know I'm gonna try to do it.
You think?
I it took pounds.
What's in this over?
Yeah, no, yeah, I'll make.
Well, one sold out.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah, I couldn't.
No. Yeah, I don't intentionally speak. It's more like, or like, it's not like a dance, it's more like a, it's like, but it happens to, oh, really? Wow.
The thing is, it keeps observing it. It's almost like we would use like water on set.
Oh, it'll
So
never.
it dries out.
Yeah. And it's because of the substance.
It's the Zata.
Oh, Zata.
No, it's the Zata itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That makes sense.
Like,
How many different flavors of vodka do you have?
then it's not curved.
How many flavors of vodka do you have?
I have, is it 4 or 5?
Okay. Which one?
I have 2 of the savory, which is the Zata, and I'm making pizza babka.
Mm.
And then I have classic chocolate. I have chocolate with halva. And there's another one I forgot.
Shimi, when do you think a pizza babka turns into just a pizza or a calzone?
Sorry?
When does a pizza babka turn into like a calzone or an actual pizza?
When does it turn into a calzone?
Yeah, like.
Like how do you still keep it a babka? How do you keep the?
Oh, it stays like a loaf. That's what you mean? Like how do I?
I meant like, do you think?
Like what's the difference between them?
Cereal, salad, or porridge, just like that.
I don't understand the question. Danny, come on.
I'm saying like, do you think a pizza babka is the same thing as like a calzone?
No.
No, what is the difference?
We're good with it.
See, that was easy.
Is it because,
I think he wants to know what the difference is.
yeah, what's
Well, the difference is the dough. So the dough is dough babka. You know, babka started from challah.
Oh, you're
You know,
right.
Oh,
babka
yeah.
started in Eastern Europe when, in the 19th century, when women had leftovers of challah bread, dough, and it's usually like the edges when it didn't fit. They used this dough, and they used to stuff it with fruits. There was no chocolate. It used to be super expensive, so dried fruits and all of that. And then this is how it started from challah. But I thought if I want to make like a savory babka, I might as well make it the flavor. I love pizza. It's my favorite thing is like pizza. So why would I make a pizza babka?
Okay.
It's like a Jewish pizza.
So babka is defined. So babka is defined by the dough.
Thank you.
Do you have a pizza recipe that you like to make, like a shimmy pizza?
Yeah, it's on. I have it's on a recipe actually. It's the same dough though, so it's also
the same dough as the babka?
Yeah. No, the same dough as the pizza.
Yeah.
And I have a really it's a super easy recipe.
You might have rolled this part too thin. Is there a way to fix that?
Yeah, that's what I like about yeast dough is that it's super forgiving. So it'll forgive you. Oh,
Just need it a little like
this dough. I use instead of using the entire part, just use the straight part, not the curve, and then go almost like 45 degrees. So and then go back and forth, and you'll be able to control it more. If you make more, you have it here.
Or I didn't.
Are you coming to roll it?
I cannot, but I have to go upstairs, sadly. But I have a meeting.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm sorry.
I thought you were against the babka.
No, I would love to roll the babka. But I have a question about, like, did you ever struggle with charging with putting such a high price on it? Because I feel like
What's the other way? It's from here to here.
it's two things.
Thanks.
One is that it takes a tremendous amount of like self-confidence to put such a high price tag on your own product.
True.
And also you're kind of making your product, like your food, inaccessible to most people. And so is that something you ever think about or grapple with? Or was it something you ever struggled with before you made that decision?
Struggled with what? That's what.
Struggled internally with, like the moral decision.
No.
No.
And it's honestly because I know how much time it takes to make it. I know that it's all handmade. Everyone keeps telling me, why won't you buy like the chopped nuts already, and why you can buy the chocolate ganache? I don't want to do it. I was never scared of the price. I want to work less and make more money. I don't like things that are for everyone. I was never like that. Like I always wanted things that, not everyone has, and that's what I always did. And when I started it, I thought, I should just build it the same way I build other businesses for other people in jewelry that I did. Why wouldn't I do that?
So I used to sell jewelry for $15 million a year. Why wouldn't I sell a babka for $100?
Was it hard to find an audience for a product at that price point? Or?
Again, I had luck. So as soon as you're being written about, it's becoming like the next best thing, and people are just like coming. And then I can tell you that many people who couldn't afford my babka said, which is a huge compliment, by the way, I don't take it for granted, but when people say, I saved up to buy your babka, it's amazing. Because we do it with other things. So, you know, people pay $5,000 for a bag. You know, and it's like, you don't even, we do that. So it exists in every like market. So in my industry, it's, you know, most people think that they want to make everything in food. They want to make it more accessible because they think they're going to make more money. But if you're going to sell more, you need more power, more people to work. You need more material. I don't want all that. I want less material, less people to work. I don't want to work so hard and then make more money. I think it's smart. That's beautiful. It's funny because I'll give you an idea. I'm going to, when I go to cook, when I do a sit-down dinner, and I work literally 3 days, full 3 days, I charge $500 per person. Michelin star restaurants don't charge $500 per person. But you go to the restaurant. I don't have a restaurant, so I don't have the facilities. I don't have all of that. I work really hard to bring this experience to someone's house. Now, there's enough people everywhere, you know, in America who can afford it. You just have to like, this is how you market yourself. You're like, I'm working for these people, you know, that's my business. This is how I define my business since the beginning. I don't hear any complaints. I honestly don't. And I honestly didn't even hear complaints. I think I had one person who said to me, your babka is crazy expensive. And I said, you don't have to buy it.
And I think the difference comes from the fact that like you are selling a product. You're not really selling a babka.
No,
you're selling
an experience.
Well, you're not. No, I wouldn't say that. But like when you cook for people, I think you said. I guess you could say your babka is an experience. But like you're just selling a completely different product than like the babka that.
Yes.
But it's deceptive.
The babka already exists. And this is
But it's deceptive because it takes the same. Feels like the same thing, but it's not.
But it's not, and that's what everyone says. And I think, listen, I don't think there were the other way. Lengthwise, yeah. So I don't think that anyone, and you can look it up as I did, that any other babka ever gotten the attention that mine got. So I always did something right and different. So I mean, again, it's going back to also like business. I know that it's expensive. I'm not an idiot. I came up with the price, but it's what I want to sell it for. And you can say that with every product that you create. You can say, this is what I want to sell it for. And again, it's going back to like, there's going to be the person who's going to say, it's not for me. And there's going to be the person who's going to say, great, I'll take 10. And it is by the way, because you mentioned the word confidence, it does have that. It's a lot. It has a lot to do with it. It's like when I go into a client's house and I talk. You know, I have friends who owns restaurants and they're asking me like, how do you charge so much money, and how more than that, how do you find these people to pay you that amount of money? Right, I'm not looking for these people. They find me. You know, it's like I define my business and then it attracts the right customer. And that's, I need to focus on my business. This needs to be in the freezer also.
Freezer?
And to bring the other ones.
No,
I think we just put some in the freezer downstairs. So if you can bring them up.
Bring them up.
Yeah, thank you.
Shimi, thank you. If you're still here in a little bit, I'll come back.
How long does the babka take?
It's baking for
What do you want?
No, it's usually I bake it on 380, but I'd rather do it on 370 and see how it reacts. Sorry, somebody asked me. I think between 25 to 30 minutes. Yeah.
You check for like a certain color? No.
No.
How do you know like?
I just
25
know
to
at this
30?
point.
Do you let it rest
I know.
afterwards, or
Sorry?
like do you let it rest out of the oven nothing leaks, or like?
It needs to rest like for a few minutes before you slice it, because otherwise it gets smooshed. But now when we're going to get the other one, then we'll do the braiding, and then we do the egg wash, and then it goes straight to the oven.
This reminds me a lot of Brachman. It's like a similar thing, but it's that kind of like scallions, all boil and salt on the inside, you roll it up, and then you cut it and you see the process before that tastes.
You mean like pinwheels, basically? So like roll that by feet. Oh. Huh. Never tried that. Oh, it's like these buns. Yeah. It's delicious.
It's consistently, yeah. Or not chocolate, but like ice with chocolate.
So I have to do this quick, guys, because otherwise it's becoming soft again. And spray.
That sounds better.
All right.
What do you have on?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that one I want to see you.
Okay. So. This is the fun part.
Yeah, I researched it before I came.
I understand.
That is beautiful.
American food?
Yeah,
I would do that.
What are the types of ingredients you would add to your pizza babka?
Sorry?
The types of ingredients you would add to your pizza babka?
Shredded mozzarella or fresh mozzarella, basil dips, and just pizza sauce that I'm making, garlic. I'm also more into savory. I don't remember when was the last time that I ate that chocolate pasta. Yeah, it's not my thing.
Can I ask, is this folding technique, like, is this similar to the way that other baskets are made, or is it like?
This is exactly how our babka is made. Yeah.
It looks so different.
I think because it's different though, and also it's savory, you know, the chocolate makes it look completely different.
So I add some water to the egg just because egg, and it's not something I love on pastry. It just creates like a very, very hard layer, and then it just prevents it from like growing. So I just go like a tiny bit.
A tiny bit so it doesn't prevent it?
Yeah, because especially not on the sides, because as soon as it goes into the oven, it creates this really like hard layer, and then it stops the pastry from like growing, or it has like cracks on the side.
But putting that on it just a little bit makes it just like a
With
glaze.
water, yeah. When you deliver with some water or milk,
Yeah.
it helps. Are there good restaurants in Boston?
Yes.
Yeah. Israeli restaurants here?
This bakery and some of the like that one.
Oh, I know one bakery, I think, for the guy who actually started the babka in New York. Uri Chef. He opened, I think he opened here, it's also babkas and everything, because the partnership they had. So Uri Chef is a very, very famous Israeli baker, and in the beginning of 2000s, he started to make babka in New York, and then babka became the #1 dessert in America for a few years, still holds the #1 dessert in New York. But then the partnership didn't work, and after a few years he left, and I think only now he opened something here in Boston. That's the only Jewish bakery that I know. They have like Rogalach, and he's amazing. Sorry? There's Miznon here? Where? Nice. I was just there 2 days ago in New York. Yeah, I love this food.
In terms of like non-seasoned baking sheets, so it reflects all
The baking, just because it's not very, yeah, I want it to be like steak.
Where is this?
Pull hard, pull hard.
Whole heart.
Yes. You're hired.
You should take the things off the top of the bathroom. There's like a little hole where it lets see out.
Oh, that's
There's
okay.
those things that we got.
Good call.
Yeah, just off the top. You'll see the little hole.
There's like a, let's see.
Another thing that I don't do with my original babka, with the chocolate babka, so babka is usually baked in these loaf pans. I don't bake it in loaf pans. I just let it, it's free on like a baking sheet, because I just like it to take, it's, you know, it can go wherever it wants to go, and then it just like opens in like different shapes and everything.
Like braided brioche before? Because I feel like that's very much like...
Yeah, it's very brioche, it's very similar to challah. It just has loads of butter in it, which most challah recipes don't really, just because it's, you know, trying to carve it. It's, yeah.
We're trying making a babka French toast.
Yes. Yes. I actually want to make I have an idea now. I'm doing a dinner this weekend, and they asked me to do something different than just serving the babka with like onglet sauce and stuff. So I'm thinking about just dipping it in tempura and just deep fry it. So then when you take it out and you slice it, it's like everything just melts on your plate. And I think that would be nice.
So-
chocolate is always nice.
Everything very
It's true.
A lot of people are like, a lot of chefs and culinary people are pretty protective of cultural specific cuisines and traditions. So what is your philosophy for like reinventing your cultural cuisine for the next generation and keeping it relevant within the cultural zeitgeist?
It's funny, first I'm going to start by saying that I didn't grow up on babka, which is, I didn't know what babka was up until 6-7 years ago, because it's an Eastern European dish. but it's funny that you bring it up because I'm dealing with a lot of people. There's a lot of groups now that are going against Israeli chefs and how we interpret food from the Middle East. And I get a lot of not very nice messages from, not necessarily just, I can tell you also Eastern European Jews that are like, what you do to our babka.
Yeah.
So it's also, and you always have that, but it's the majority now is Palestinians. And it's my best friend in London is Palestinian. She's basically like my sister, and we speak every day. And we have a lot of disagreements about many, many things. But when it comes to food, we both know that it's like, we cannot have disagreement there. It's food. And it's funny because people forget, especially in America, people think that, you know, the Jew in America is the Eastern European Jew. So you don't connect it to the Middle East. So as soon as they see my food and they think, oh, it's Israeli food is like, it's not supposed to be Arabic food, I'm an Arab. Jew, but an Arab. My heritage is from the same countries that your family is. And that's what I'm dealing with now on social media a lot. But it's, and I'm being very, very, very direct now. I'm talking to Chen a lot, who was here, and the Tel Aviv Institute to help me deal with it. I went to do a workshop in LA, how to deal with anti-Semitism on social media now, because there's a lot, especially with food now. It's really going into food now, and I'm really against it because this is the one thing for me that brings people together. And I just refuse to engage in it, but at the same time, I won't give up on the food I grew up on, and I won't give up on you know, it's mine, you know, as much as it's other people. So definitely, and this is one of the reasons I also cook these dishes, and I'm not trying to do like some dishes like hube that I mentioned before. I don't try to do an interpretation. This is the food. It's what my grandma cooks for me, and that's what I want it to be. And that's basically my philosophy about this food. But I think it's a very, it's becoming nasty now. It's becoming super nasty now.
Yeah, it's like a pretty hot topic. Like cultural appropriation of tradition-specific cuisine is like a really hot topic in the food industry. So I was just wondering what your take was.
Yeah, it's and I think there's always a way to explain it. But I think when someone approaches you with, I literally like I don't engage on like comments on my Instagram. I don't have time for that also, but it's this woman, you know, I wrote something and she was trying to drag me into the, do you know how it feels when someone is trying to drag you into this conversation? And I said it to her, I literally wrote like a whole comment of like, you were trying to drag me into a conversation that I will never win. You're trying to actually have an argument with me, which I'm not interested in. If you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say it, you know? It's like, this is not, if you don't like me, if you have an issue with my page, or with what I cook, you can, there's an unfollow, click, buy. It's very simple, but I think a lot of people are looking to get into, and I have the one person that I'm going to get into these conversations with, and it's my friend. And it's hard enough, but it's important enough, because I do believe that we need to surround ourselves with people who don't agree with us. Because I think if you're always around people who agree with you, then you always think you're right.
Yeah.
And there's always a different side to every story. So listening is a good thing.
Thank you.
Of course. You're hungry?
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
You want to go eat?
Yeah, so let's go eat. There's sushi. Sushi's set up in that room. Feel free to sit and eat and chill, and then we'll take out the babka soon.
I don't know any of these things. So it's not like I don't have any experience cooking in America. So I'm not sharing any like.
It's super harsh. Oh, is it? Shoot. You see, it's like 2 minutes. Is that bad? No, I'm going to work on it. I'm just going to be next to it and watch it because these ovens are like so crazy. I know, yeah. It's not like a home oven, so just. Thank you so much. I'm covering it with flour. Oh, I don't care. I'm going, what shall we do? Do you want to bring the other two? Yeah, I'll slice them and then bake them, so when they get here.
Actually, let me bring the camera over and let's get like a good view of this.
Yeah, this is great. This has been really fun.
It
People
is
are
fun
really
for me
enjoying it.
also.
It's fun. It's great to see. It's
Thank
really
you.
interesting. Babkas, even before they're baked, they look beautiful.
Thank you very
That's
much.
That's a great technique. That's
Thank
very
you.
cool to see. Let me ask you, do you experiment with different types of savories and flavors and stuff, or you just like found what you like and
I find what I liked. I do this actually, and I like I said, I have a pizza one that I'm doing. But I mean, I tried it with like vegetables inside, and I tried it with other things, and
you tried like a curry type or
I was
things like that?
yeah, I was exploring with a lot of things. But the thing is that when you mix cream, this is why I don't use cream for my chocolate, for instance, because it spills out of the. So everything when you bake it, it starts to boil because it's a liquid, and then it comes out with the olive oil. It goes into the dough, and it just holds everything. So I'm always trying to find ways to like just use olive oil or use butter that I do also.
And do you ever get bored just making babkas all the time?
No.
That's great.
It's
really
I
wonderful.
love doing it, and you know what? I always say it. I feel so grateful that it's literally something that's changed my life. So, everything that I'm able to do now, it's thanks to that. Just cooking and just taking everything to it's because of that.
Right.
Because this put me on the map. So I cannot like stop making it or ignore it or tell people, no, I don't. I'm making it, and I enjoy it. And when I don't enjoy it, then I don't make it. But it doesn't really happen. Because I love what I do, I was waiting my entire life to get to a point where I don't just go to work, when I'm excited to wake up in the morning and do something I love.
You're a very blessed man. That's awesome.
Thank you, yeah. And, it's, and also doing things like this, especially for the community, and it's super important to me because I always feel that it has more than, I always say that I want to feed people more than just food, it's important. And it's also, food is like, especially in Judaism, it's a super important thing, and we bless it, and it's something that we put into our body, so it has energy. And I want it to be made with love, because people eat it, they put it into their bodies, so I want it to have the right intentions when I make it for someone. You grew up here?
In America.
Yeah? Where?
New York area, Connecticut.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how long have you been here?
At Harvard.
Yes.
This is my first year here.
Oh, nice. And in Boston in general?
I'm new. I actually was my whole director at Rutgers in New Jersey.
Okay.
For 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Shimi, I'm gonna save you a plate.
Thank you.
It's very good. And then a friend of mine's involved here. Called me up and they needed some help.
Fill it up? Yeah, and then pour it.
Yeah.
And it's a fascinating place.
Smells really good.
Doesn't it?
Thank you.
Awesome to watch the various techniques.
It's also like Jewish history for me, so it's another thing. Like I enjoy it because it's something that we need to like carry on and keep doing. We have to keep doing it. Like no one, it's like my mom always tells me that she's so happy that I started, you know, cooking professionally, and that I'm still making the food that her mom is making. And my grandma is 104 and she's still alive.
Wow. Yeah, I know.
So it's, and I cook. She doesn't cook obviously anymore, but
Egyptian?
she's Yemeni. Yeah. Hopefully I have the same genes. I want to live to see what's going to happen with this world. I'm very curious. So
It's a big question mark.
it's a big
so.
yes, but I like question marks. It's interesting. I like to keep it interesting, but we'll see. But yeah, my mom is very, very happy that I cook this food because, you know, she cooks it all the time for the family. But it's a different thing when you talk about it, you know, or when the LA Times is writing about it, or, you know, and she sees it, and it makes her so happy because she lost her parents in a very young age, you know, so just to keep
This is keeping
doing it, yeah,
that alive.
and the traditions, and yeah, it's important. Especially in a world where everyone is getting bigger and we just become...
We don't get so much bigger.
I know, we just stay the same.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
what
as
I always...
you go to the Pesach, so many families have their special Pesach recipe.
Right.
Whatever their grandmothers or great-grandmothers made and they passed down.
Yes.
And it's one of the most important things we have.
Yeah. I think it's every holiday.
Yeah.
You know, my brothers are going to the same, you know, they're going to my mom's house, they want to maintain it, they want their kids to maintain it, you know, they're not religious, but they go and they do Kiddush every Shabbat, and they do the whole thing because it's important to do it, you know. When I get to do it, I do it, and it's important for me, although I'm not religious, to, you know, do Shabbat dinner and not to work on Shabbat, this is something that I was in retail for many years.
It's pretty tough.
And I was working Saturdays and Sundays and Fridays, and the only day that I always refused to work was like, you know, Yom Kippur, which I would just refuse to work. Fire me. I'm not going to work. Even if I don't fast, I'm not going to work. But what I love about doing this is that it's my own business and I can decide what I want to do and when I want to do it.
You're your own boss.
Shabbat, I'm not leaving my bed. I'm with
That's
my
very
cookies and
interesting.
my coffee and watching my Harry Potter, and then that's it.
One of the things that it's so really exciting about Israeli cooking there is all of the fusions of different
Yes,
types.
it's incredible.
Like we were talking about, people brought all the recipes from different places, and now we're seeing it all.
It's incredible. The mishmash of like, it's
Phenomenal.
incredible.
The restaurants in Israel are phenomenal.
Phenomenal. It's like every time I go there, I just cannot believe how talented people are. I mean, I know it, but I just don't believe how talented they are. It's incredible.
You're sitting at 57.
I have about,
Cousins?
yeah, almost 50.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 2 siblings. I'm the oldest. I don't think I can put more at the same time unless we... Four.
Rotating them at how many minutes?
I'm thinking, I can't wait to go home and try to make this. But it's Passover, so I won't. So when I get home, it's gonna be
Oh no.
get rid of all of the flour.
You still have a weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the cleaning up.
Well, according
You
to
gotta
the
clean the whole house and all
Oh.
that stuff.
I still find it super funny
That
that
they're
this is
torching
happening here
already?
and this is happening here. It's like flour and pastry and...
Do you know who the H1's not like the things that are used?
Sternos.
up here,
Yeah.
like the actual, like the metal part, like
Yeah.
not the.
Yeah.
The part that you like?
Like
part that you
I
like.
think it's
No,
got.
he means,
I think
yeah,
it's
whips.
those things. This is the box. I think that's Oh, there's a Passover toaster if you want to check it. It's
No
not-
way.
Yeah,
There's
there's
no way.
a box that's labeled Passover toaster with a toaster inside.
It must be toast for us. to make matzo pizza.
Oh.
Matzo pizza.
I mean, you
I don't
couldn't
know.
have Italian without matzo pizza. Do you want some soy sauce or?
But obviously not really Mexican. But honestly, I found another food scale, which was unfortunate because I bought a food scale. It was in the bottom of one of these boxes. And so clearly we have another baking event at some point. You have everything you need. I'm sorry you didn't have enough feta. I went with the quantities that you would.
No, I know, but I asked Danny to double everything when we said we were going to make a double portion of that. But it's okay, we had enough.
I was so good, I thought. I was with a calculator at the grocery store.
Even I don't take it so seriously. You shouldn't, you know? It's
my one. I need to make sure all that you have the ingredients correct.
I understand.
I did. I'm glad I got you the big bag of mozzarella though.
Yes. Something needs to like hold the whole
You know what it could have been? Maybe, so they ran out of the feta, the one I had chosen, maybe they sent you a smaller feta. Because I did double it. So they called me and said that they didn't have the feta I had chosen. I said, just give me a block of feta.
Okay.
So they might have given you a smaller one. So I didn't, that's all right. That was now, I'm thinking about it, that's the one, they called me to tell me about the feta.
It worked. It worked perfectly.
Yeah. The issue we have here is one place that we can buy. We have one kosher supermarket. So, and they already switched.
There's only one?
Yeah.
Really?
There used to be two.
And they flipped last week for Passover. So they had everything. It was like I had to call them specially to make the sushi.
There's another market down in Sharon, which is south, an hour south. There's a little a little one up on the North Shore. The Boston religious community has shrunk.
I order things that produces in Israel on Amazon. And it comes to my door, it's incredible.
But the issue, they were not going to send you like cheese though and things like that.
It depends. No, but in LA it's much easier.
I figured out what happened with the feta.
Oh.
They specifically called me from the butchery saying the feta I had picked out, they didn't have. So I told them just switch it with another block of feta. They might have sent the smaller one.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I did double the recipe when I bought everything.
Okay.
So.
That's okay. All
No,
good.
I just remembered they'd specifically talked about that.
Okay.
And I just remembered.
Yes.
When did you see your mom again?
In person. End of the school year, so May. Do you want me to? Okay.
She'll be so happy.
She will shit her pants. Yeah.
she'll be
Take
so
your
happy.
a whole.
Whole ass Zatar bag.
The two things that I insist on going with everywhere is my Zatar.
I just bought a huge. There's a Persian
I want
supermarket.
to put it on my pillow. Like this and the yeast that I'm using.
Zatar and sumac are my two
Sumac.
favorite.
I sneaked sumac into America. Like sumac, not ground sumac. The branches I bought in the Palestinian market in Jerusalem. Like a bag full of branches, because you know it's a berry.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. I just love to look at it. But if you take the branch and you put it in a stock with like chicken and it's delicious.
There's a Persian supermarket that I found here 12 minutes away.
Right.
They have all the za'atar, all the seasoning from and it's all Israeli too. They sell because they have from all over. So I just bought a huge thing of za'atar from them.
If you ever find wherever you find
honestly, they
Lebanese,
probably have this.
Lebanese za'atar is like the best one. And it's on, and you know why? It's because where it grows in Lebanon is the best climate for it.
Yeah.
It's
I
good
do
in
like
Israel
it when
also.
it's like chunky. I like having like the big pieces in it. Like, I don't know, because this one I see it's like super grounded.
It's super grounded.
Yeah. I love it when I can like taste like.
So you can you take that and you just add like drops of. Don't yell at me.
Wow, you can figure this oven out. That's very impressive.
I mean, I did deal with like loads of ovens when I did this project in New York last year. There was a major company and they bought me like 7 different ovens to figure out. Do you know how many times we baked everything? It took me 3 months. And people came from from each brand of the ovens to do me like guys, I don't want to know about these things. Like I'm gonna give you a recipe, you're gonna do it. I'll make it, you're gonna figure out how to bake it.
Yeah.
Like don't teach me how to do it. But I did learn a little bit.
Fair. No, I can't figure it.
These are so aggressive.
Yeah.
Super aggressive.
No, this is the only dairy option that we have to make with. Because the whole kitchen, he told you it's all meat. So you can't use it anyways.
Next time we'll make babka bolognese then.
Okay.
Sounds so
Do we have like a paper or something to clean this before I
Yeah.
take it?
Yeah.
I have disinfectant wipes.
Perfect.
Right, we have
Oh, they're here?
Oh, you got that.
we
Okay.
just like some paper towels to wipe up some stuff off.
Great lobster, by the way, Danny.
Oh. No, I was, so we're like planning the wedding, and my dad was just like, he doesn't keep the shirt on. He's just like, because we're having it in the Cape, and he's like, oh, I want lobster, I want this, and serve, because it's like here they're known for like clam chowder or lobster, like you have something out at the Cape or on the water, you want like seafood. And we're like, Dad, we can't, it's like a Jewish wedding, like we can't serve lobster. And I was like, that's like minimum, even if no one keeps kosher, like it's just like the look, like we can't go serve shellfish at the wedding. He was just like, nah.
It's very different in America though. Like when I was growing up, Jewish people in Israel never ate seafood or anything like this.
Now
and then
it's
I came,
so popular.
Now it is, yeah. But when I came to America 20 years ago, like every Jew that I met was eating like, I would ask like, do you eat ham? They're like, no, we only eat bacon. I'm like, what?
It's true. No, but I don't make bacon. But like, if I'm at a restaurant or like at breakfast somewhere and they have bacon, like
Crispy bacon? Yeah.
Like, but I won't make it myself.
I can't control myself when it comes to that.
I get grossed out when I see all the fat on it. I'm like, oh, this is good.
I used to terrorize my parents keep kosher in a way that you cannot. I grew up, my grandfather was a rabbi, and they named me after him. It's the worst choice. And then my parents took it, and I remember at 16, they opened the first Domino's pizza in my neighborhood in Israel. They came to Israel, and I just couldn't. And I ate like I went to my neighbor like across the street, and we had like pepperoni pizza because she was like they didn't care, her parents.
Yeah.
And it was so delicious. And I said, how can I order it? And I'm like,
There's like a non-kosher. So you know how pizza on Roshel?
yes.
They have like a non-kosher version of it too, right?
I know. No, but back then it's like I just wanted that. So I ordered it and I used to run with it into my bedroom. And my dad was, what is this smell?
I changed it to 45.
So how long does it usually take to?
It's about, it depends. It's about 35.
So, do you want to eat it or something?
35 minutes.
It smells amazing.
So where are you from? Massachusetts, New England. Very cool. Where are you?
I've moved around like 10 times, but I moved here from Wisconsin.
I've read that like.
But I'm very much not. My parents are from the East Coast, like,
Sorry?
Wisconsin. My dad's job.
Yeah.
Wisconsin Crane Company.
You have to
I
learn
do
it.
it.
Yeah. You have to be familiar
Dairy
with
industry. Crane Company.
cream. I was like, they're called
Crane. There is a lot of cheese.
No, he's a crane guy. Like the construction crane.
Yep, construction cranes.
So are you just here like for this or?
I'm here specifically for you.
Yeah, I came especially.
Besides chocolate, you mentioned there's other sweet
We're gonna put the 2-hour-long video on Instagram.
Another one. So I'm doing chocolate.
We're gonna send.
You know what halva is? Halva is like it's a candy that it's almost like candy, but it's made from tahini and honey. So when you mix tahini and honey, it turns into like sugary, delicious sesame candy. So they make it into like blocks or into a paste. And then you can combine it with like pastries and stuff like that. It's delicious. You should try it if you like sweets. And I do poppy seeds. That's the one I forgot to mention. Poppy seeds that I love. There was another one. I know, I saw it. It's not me.
It's not you.
It's usually me, but not this time. I know.
Oh my goodness, that's very tragic.
It's very tragic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now you have many ways to bake. Honestly, it's easier to like get the flour out as a mouthful. I thought you were. Oh. Yeah, I was like, well, I can't do much about it right now. Yeah, I know.
How much time do we have?
This is also fun to watch.
Oh,
I
this
need
is
like
so
a few
fun.
more minutes.
I think it's hilarious. This is
Wait, so what are you
torching.
looking at for determining whether it's
I just want to make sure. So what happened with the first ones that I put in?
Yeah.
It was I was using the same temperature that I use on my oven at home, but then in 5 minutes it just got all the color that needed.
Oh, but it's definitely not
usually
done.
takes,
Yeah.
it has to happen gradually.
No, it's a really weird.
Yeah.
I had to lower the temperature and then just make sure that it's
I believe that when I
raw inside. But I know like
they turn like very dark on the outside, really looks like inside. Yeah.
I just know. I know it's the timing. I know how to because I only bake it in my house. I live in my house, so it's but I know because I know by the look of it, by the touch it, by stuff like that.
Here we go.
Yeah, I watch like shows where people like listen to those
So I was supposed to end at 11, but I just but the whole time all I could think about was I'm missing the babka.
Did you have off the wedding yet?
No, yeah, you
I actually love that. Oh, and it smells so good. So like this was Wait, can I show you Shimi?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you. Good. How are you? Wait, so can you tell me a little bit about what you do? I don't know.
LA.
Ah, okay. Oh, okay.
C'est français, absolument.
Okay, also I know we were supposed to, or you were maybe going to do a cooking class with like
I wanted to do it,
Okay.
but unfortunately,
à travers de faire de recherche et autre chose.
oh,
Qu'est-ce qu'on fait? Qu'est-ce que vous voulez?
I don't want to be seeing you right now.
Mais c'est pas grave.
or this. Okay.
Yeah, it's just had like topics on the floor.
Okay.
It's fine.
People are starting to.
I'm glad to start finding my own.
Really? I appreciate you.
I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah, you waited this long.
Mais chaque test, c'est bien structuré avec les essais de
C'est ça.
C'est bien, c'est encore d'écrire certaines méthodes, mais
Vraiment de manière que le test process.
Trying to rush the process.
Non, c'est vraiment pas il y a nos counter-arguments. Il y a un peu du faux à la thèse. Le thèse est c'est une fin.
Never done this before, by the way.
I don't actually. I don't know if these are from. I don't know if they used it like either. Maybe like super gross.
Sorry?
The cooling. I don't know where the cooling racks are from. I don't think they've been here in like years. Yeah, there might be like super fun.
I've been using the tin gears, so it feels like
Yeah. Well, they're also like, I mean, blown in an oven, like, so they're. I think they're sanitary. Yeah.
Have you ever cut molds though? Like,
Cut what?
molds?
Oh, ok.
But like, I see that's a thing
C'est à
sometimes.
l'université à Paris.
And then to cut the mold.
Last second semester is when you had to be like,
So should I put it
not worth overextending.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, like figure out like why I think
We have HUHS.
That's
It's
right.
okay.
Yeah, they'll make like
you know, they did a lot of yeah, I was never involved
Oh yeah, I didn't even. That's an accomplishment.
yeah, right? It's like, yeah.
C'est à 4h30.
4h du matin. What time is that? In English and bachelor's. Oh,
Can I take a photo of you?
What is the reason why I don't come to feed here?
Aww. Wait, hold on. Let me Okay. You're so photogenic, I really am.
Well, it's not my first time.
J'ai jamais les chances. C'est toujours comme en français, avec les français. Il parle espagnol. Et on peut du coup de
Daniel, I have one last question.
Yes.
Do we have a larger knife?
No, yeah.
Do we have a larger
You go to
Porque ahora estoy haciendo español.
next to me? Send the picture to your mom.
Oh, pardon.
No, it's okay.
That was
Aww. Et c'est en français ou c'est
Quoi, le poulet? Let me know if you like it.
Mais il y a aussi un peu,
because of the sun.
Yeah, you get a much better picture if you guys are on this side. I think you guys
Si quieres, hay también una...
I was trying, but the sun just
Yeah, that'll be it. That'll actually
Oh yeah, and then we'll watch that.
Oui, moi aussi, je parle français, l'anglais. J'aimerais comprendre.
Actually, can I take this picture for the...
On est amis. Je vais apprendre cet été dans le échange avec Claudia. Alors, oui, oui. Apparemment, oui,
Oh, sassy. Oh, wait. Oh, my God.
I'm going to take one because it's my job.
Alors, est-ce que tu as une réponse des États-Unis? Est-ce qu'on est là? Oui, c'est absolument magnifique, non? C'est très belle. Je suis absolument ravie. Waouh, oui, oui, oui. Oh my gosh. Et après, j'ai une question en français. Et j'ai commencé avec conception, alors j'avais une petite dans la main. Oui, mais ça va, tu parles de ça. Oh, I started with French, so I had a bit of an advance with my citation.
Yes.
Okay, wait, before you try it, we need like... We're documenting the moment.
Wait, hold on. I need all the documents.
It's like, je préfère le DELF P2, alors je le fais cet été.
Okay.
Je crois que c'est plus important. Mais c'est
So, name, date.
Megan, March 30th, 2023. At 1 p.m.
Oh, mais juste comme ça. Je suis pas d'accord. Alors,
That knife? We bought.
It's a bot?
Like, we need a bigger knife. Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah, we bought.
Okay.
Can I just grab one of these fast?
Yes. Yeah, grab it, totally, go for it. Okay, this is Michael Gould. He's the head TF for CS51.
Which started 20 minutes ago?
Which started 20 minutes ago.
I'm dealing with it.
They offered me one like the same size upstairs.
Shimi, I have to run past my phone. Thank you so much.
Meet you.
Enjoy.
And yeah, we're second year, right? So I was like, oh, Israel's here.
I never got to that.
Yeah, that's why I think yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna put some aside for student who
There's 2 more coming out.
You're so good at like meeting my
Yes.
Thanks so much. Right. So that's what I'm saying.
My TV show stuff didn't.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh, because we're already at
Okay.
Merci. Attends, I just keep it. Encore une fois.
Here's the French speaking organization.
Do you know Barstool Review? Yeah. You know, they like kind of tweets and they're like, one bite, everyone knows the rules. Okay, so like one bite, everyone knows the rules.
I need to brush up my French when I'm moving back.
10 out of 10.
Right.
Okay, one bite, everyone knows the rules.
But I think out of my
What's your rating?
favorite ones, it's the pizza. Yeah, so the pizza is like my number 1 favorite. But this is my
Right.
Hi.
Hi, can I get a piece, please?
No.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
I'm giving you half.
What's your guys' rating?
I think it's really hard
So far, the accent's
I love when this happens.
Yeah.
Zata? Oui, je sais pas.
spice or mix of spices?
It's a mix of, it's a za'atar you can buy fresh, so it's dry za'atar.
Yeah.
Usually
Oh,
you
it's
add
like a single, there's a spice.
yes, and then you roast sesame and you add it to it.
Okay.
But it's from the thyme family.
Yeah, okay.
And they don't grow it, but there's no, in Israel they sell it fresh. Here you can't find it fresh. I know people who are growing, they bring seeds from Israel.
It's a bit like
Thyme, yeah. Same family of thyme, oregano.
It was incredible. Yeah. One of the middle of the trip. It was really awesome. Always good.
Right.
All 3 of us did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the dinner night. I watched it.
What was the best part?
Yeah, we got this something every day.
Really good. Thank you everyone for coming. And then like before we go, I just want to take a second.
We didn't have
To generosity.
all the time. Also, there's like, I call Jack and I'm like, so hey, go ahead. Muy bien, you know that? And I don't know why he like kicked me.
See this one?
That was so funny.
The center is like no
That was
baked
a
yet.
short team.
So
Yeah, I know. And he was telling this story. And I was like, you know, that's just like Harvard Hillel. I like this really your understanding. We were all like,
Yeah, the center.
yeah, I just think there's so like personal people in my
I think the other one might have been really similar. It was just like, nice to meet you.
everyone have
The
it?
group was really great. That was
I think so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, first time.
I never did that.
Family. people are a lot more mature than they were.
Freeze the roast and have it past.
Yeah, you used to kind of associate.
Yeah.
This is like really wonderful. Conversations also getting like, why?
Were you, was this for you? No. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Still figure.
So,
Something not in he wants to be a part of his life and not like his life. Yeah.
We made a basket.
Yeah.
Did I? Wow, that's so good. I've got like 5 minutes before I have to run the clock.
I don't know, I have like over 1,000.
Okay, everybody, can I have your attention for a second? Just for 1 second. Thank you all so much for coming. This was so fun to have everyone here to cook with Shimi. He came all the way from LA. He's moving to London right after this. I also just want to thank again the Brachman family.
Let's go Brachmans!
Let's go Brachmans! Ohio. Specifically, we are grateful to Miriam, Judith, Lavia, Sarai, and Shaka. So thank you so much for coming. Have a great day. Take more.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Really quickly before I head out, I just wanted, so I'm a writer. I'm planning on starting so right now I'm in the process of like pumping, which means like, and I was wondering if you could.
I actually have something as well right now. Really?
About being so interested and I'd like to talk to you.
We have like a pseudo We're talking about
I'll have to email actually. If that's okay. Yeah.
me too.
And yeah, we can just
It's making
this is like my favorite thing to talk about.
Same here.
Thank you so much. I do have to head out, but it was wonderful. Oh, hi.
Yes, there's two more. There's two more in there.
Thank you. Have a good one. Oh, I'm so sorry. Is it
I'm heading out, but see you guys.
See you later, Terry. I think fairly soon.
I might have to.
Do you guys also study, or you just do like workshops?
We yeah. No, we yeah. This is a